It was a chilly October night in Philadelphia. The wind howled, and the trees swayed ominously as a small group of friends made their way to Eastern State Penitentiary, one of the oldest and most notorious prisons in America. The prison had been abandoned for decades, but the group had heard rumors of strange occurrences happening inside its walls, and they were determined to investigate. As they approached the prison, the group couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The prison's imposing Gothic architecture loomed over them, and the iron gates creaked eerily as they pushed them open. Inside, the prison was just as imposing. The walls were made of thick stone, and the air was damp and musty. The group shone their flashlights around, illuminating the empty cells and rusted bars. As they explored deeper into the prison, they began to hear strange noises. Whispers echoed through the corridors, and footsteps could be heard coming from the empty cells. The group tried to ignore the noises, assuming they were just their imaginations playing tricks on them, but the noises only grew louder and more persistent. Suddenly, one member of the group let out a blood-curdling scream. The others rushed to her side, only to find her collapsed on the ground, her face frozen in terror. She muttered something about seeing a ghostly figure and then passed out. The group quickly decided to leave the prison, but as they made their way towards the exit, they were confronted by a ghostly apparition. It was a figure dressed in tattered prison garb, with pale skin and sunken eyes. It floated towards them, emitting an eerie moaning sound. The group ran as fast as they could, but the ghostly figure pursued them relentlessly. They finally reached the exit and burst through the iron gates. As they caught their breath, they looked back towards the prison, only to see the ghostly figure disappear back into the darkness. The group never spoke of their experience at Eastern State Penitentiary again, but rumors of hauntings at the prison continued to circulate for years. Some claimed to have seen the ghostly figure floating through the halls, while others reported strange noises and unexplained occurrences. The prison eventually reopened as a museum, but visitors continued to report eerie sensations and unexplained occurrences. Eastern State Penitentiary remains one of the most haunted places in America, with countless tales of ghostly encounters and supernatural phenomena. Whether these tales are true or just urban legends is up for debate, but one thing is certain: the prison's dark and mysterious past continues to haunt those who dare to venture inside its walls. Eastern State Penitentiary was one of the most notorious prisons in America, known for its harsh conditions and strict solitary confinement. It was built in 1829 and operated for nearly 150 years before it was finally shut down in 1971. During its operation, the prison housed some of the most dangerous criminals in the country, including Al Capone and Willie Sutton. The prison's strict rules were based on a system known as the Pennsylvania system, which emphasized solitary confinement and forced prisoners to reflect on their crimes and repent. Each prisoner was given their own cell, with a small exercise yard attached, and was required to spend 23 hours a day in solitude. They were only allowed to leave their cells for 1 hour of exercise, and all communication with other prisoners was strictly prohibited. The harsh conditions at Eastern State Penitentiary took a toll on the prisoners, both mentally and physically. Many of them suffered from mental illness, and some even went insane from the prolonged isolation. In addition, the prison was known for its brutal punishments, including the use of the mad chair, a device used to restrain prisoners for hours at a time. Over the years, the prison became known for its supernatural activity. Visitors and staff members reported seeing ghostly apparitions, hearing strange noises, and feeling an eerie presence throughout the prison. Some claimed to have seen the ghost of Al Capone himself, while others reported hearing whispers and footsteps in the empty corridors. One of the most famous ghostly occurrences at Eastern State Penitentiary is the story of the locksmith's curse. According to legend, a locksmith was hired to help renovate the prison in the 1940s. While working on one of the cells, he discovered a hidden stash of money and decided to keep it for himself. As soon as he took the money, he was overcome with a feeling of dread and guilt. From that day on, he was haunted by the ghost of the prisoner who had hidden the money, and he eventually went insane and died. Today, Eastern State Penitentiary is a museum, and visitors can take guided tours of the prison's eerie halls and cells. Many visitors report feeling a sense of unease and discomfort while inside the prison, and some claim to have had supernatural experiences of their own. Whether or not the ghostly legends of Eastern State Penitentiary are true, one thing is certain: the prison's dark and mysterious past continues to fascinate and haunt visitors to this day. In addition to the stories of ghostly encounters, Eastern State Penitentiary is also known for its unique architecture. The prison was designed by John Haviland, who created a radial plan that allowed guards to keep watch over the prisoners from a central rotunda. The prison's Gothic-style architecture features high stone walls, turrets, and archways, giving it an imposing and foreboding appearance. The prison's design and philosophy of isolation and reflection were revolutionary at the time and inspired the creation of other prisons around the world. However, as the years went on, the harsh conditions and lack of human interaction at Eastern State Penitentiary came under scrutiny. Critics argued that the prison's isolation and silence only served to worsen the mental health of the prisoners, and that it was inhumane to deprive them of human contact. Despite these criticisms, Eastern State Penitentiary remained in operation for nearly 150 years. It wasn't until the 1960s that the conditions of the prison finally began to change. Activists and reformers called attention to the inhumane treatment of prisoners, and the prison's methods were eventually phased out in favor of more modern and humane practices. Today, Eastern State Penitentiary is a popular tourist attraction, drawing visitors from around the world who come to see the prison's eerie and haunted halls. The prison has been featured in numerous films, TV shows, and books, cementing its place in popular culture. Despite its reputation as one of the most haunted places in America, Eastern State Penitentiary remains an important historical site, offering a glimpse into the darker side of America's past. The prison's unique architecture, revolutionary philosophy, and troubled history continue to fascinate and intrigue visitors to this day.